Hey gang, this is Justin Croxton here from Propellant Media, one of the managing partners. I thought I would give people some context around Google AdWords, whether you're advanced or a beginner, even if you're advanced in Google AdWords, it's really important for people that don't go into the platform to kind of get a sense of what goes on and what's important when it comes to building the initial campaign. And for most of these engagements, typically, part of what our agency will do is we'll do an audit if you currently have an existing campaign, or if you new, we'll have a conversation around your business objectives. We'll try to get, tagging set up. We'll try to get conversion set up appropriately so that we can track and measure what exactly our success metrics are, and tie that back into our Google AdWords platform. But a lot of times, it doesn't matter for us whether we're working with a client that's spending $500,000 a month or a client that might be spending $1,000 a month. A lot of the principles, or at least most of them, still hold true. And that is, when you're building your initial campaign out, we like to do a couple best practices, particularly for those smaller companies. And if you are a small company out there, this is something that you definitely need to ensure that you ask your agencies when they're initially building your campaigns. Because if they're not doing this, then there's definitely going to be some slippage and some waste that's happening within your ad spend. Because a lot of times, if you are a small business and you're spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, that $2,000, $3,000, really does need to go a long way. And you want to ensure that it's being fully optimized for getting you the most conversions and the most phone calls or the most sales possible. So for us as an agency, a lot of it starts with those initial conversations with the client, business objectives. But in this case, we're going to go pull the curtain behind and just take you right into the platform, essentially. And so here, when you're looking at the settings tab, this is where the start of the campaign actually begins. And so in this case, this is one of the clients that we've been working with. I can't exactly tell you who they are, but a really good client. We enjoy working with these guys. The first place typically is the type of campaign. Some people will click on Search Network with Display Select, and then also some people will click on Search Network Only. You want to start off with Search Network Only, and here's why. What happens a lot of times is on the search partners like AOLs of the world, all these different partners of Google, they're able to extend their ads to those individuals, to those individual websites. In our experience, those conversions and the cost per conversion is typically a lot higher. Well, maybe not a lot, but certainly higher than they are directly when someone does a search on Google's platform, meaning google.com. So when you're having a conversation with your agency, make certain that when that initial campaign is being built, the search partners is turned off. I mean, we've ran millions of campaigns, and I can't tell you how many times we see that turned on, and a client's already butting up against their budget on a monthly or daily basis. So that's absolutely important. Also, make certain that the All Features button is clicked, because that gives you more options and more features that allows you to have a little bit more control and flexibility in your campaigns. Also, you have the ability to build a campaign that's sending traffic directly to your website. You also have the ability to create what we call a call-only campaign, meaning the only time you will be charged is when someone clicks on your ad to give you a phone call. And I will tell you that the call-only campaigns, depending on the business, perform significantly better than the traditional AdWords campaigns. And in our mind, traditional AdWords campaigns already perform really, really well. But in our judgment, if you wanted to do both, you could certainly have two different campaigns, but we have some more advanced recommendations on how to split that up so you have two campaigns that aren't competing against one another. But if you only want to do a campaign for just call only, you can certainly do that. We highly recommend that. But in this case, we're just going to stick with the All Features tab for now. Remember when I was talking about the search partners? This is where you have the ability to include your search partners versus excluding them. So you always want to, initially at least, depending on your budget, you want to have that unchecked, at least in the very beginning. Devices, you have the ability to show your ads on mobile, desktop, laptop. Recently, very, very recently, in the last 5-6 years, mobile has been doing incredibly well for a lot of companies. So typically we'll bid up a little bit higher on mobile and maybe bid down on desktop depending on the situation, but that's something else to consider. One mistake that we notice a lot of companies typically do, particularly when they're starting off building a campaign, when we're doing a lot of our audits for clients, is they may want to target a lot of different cities or target just one city or target a number of zip codes. But they'll have this thing that's called people in searching for or who show interest in my targeted location. So let's say your business is, you're a personal injury lawyer, and someone in Florida does a search for personal injury lawyer, and I'm here in Atlanta, so let's say your business is here in Atlanta, but someone does a search for personal injury lawyer, Atlanta, but that person is not located in Atlanta. They actually happen to be in Florida. Your ad will show up in this instance. And for a lot of clients, they don't want to start off with being able to target anyone that shows an interest in Atlanta. They just want to go after people that literally live in the city of Atlanta. So this is a different situation for this client, so we did this intentionally. But in this instance, I will always typically start off our campaigns, and our team will start our campaigns off with people in my targeted location. And so we'll typically have that turned on usually in our experience. And that ensures that we're really eliminating more of that waste. And then if we do get to a place where we're really butting up against our budget, then we may go ahead and expand the budget further. And if we're not even getting to the budget at that point, that's when we may switch things over a little bit to people and searching for who show interest in my targeted location. So that's really important. Kind of moving down here, bid strategies. We like to turn on enable enhanced CPC. The motto at our agency is we do not let robots do our jobs. We do believe that utilizing some of the UI and AI technology within AdWords and some of the tools that we use can be useful, but our team is in these accounts on a regular basis, making certain that we are optimizing towards our campaign goals and our clients' revenue goals ultimately. But it's nice every once in a while to see how things are performing when this is checked and when this button is checked right here. And what this is doing is you're still bidding manually, but the system's still optimized towards your campaign goals. Whether it be certain conversions that you set up within your account. So not to get too wonky with you all, but you can see here it says here, AdWords automatically adjusts your bids to maximize conversions. But that still enables us to still have manual CPC turned on so that we can go into the system and optimize certain things ourselves. Also, you have the ability to do accelerated versus standard delivery of your ads. If you do accelerated, that means that you're going to just serve your ads as frequently and as often as you possibly can whenever you're able to show up in each auction. When someone's doing a search and you're showing up against those other advertisers. We usually in the beginning like to have that turned off and instead have you optimize over the entire day or entire week so you can get over time enough data to see what times of the day your ads are performing well versus which times of the day your ads are not. And then once we have that data, we can bid up or bid down during those times of the day so that we're showing your ads during the times when you're most likely to get the most conversions. And that always enables a client to get both the most conversions and the most phone calls or the most clicks relative to the budget that we're working with, essentially. Ad extensions, that's a whole separate conversation. We can talk about that another time, but you always, in most cases, want to have ad extensions turned on. We highly recommend that. In the new AdWords interface, and I'm using the old interface right now, but they have what's called, I believe it's called promotion extensions, where you can actually create a promotion. We've seen that to be really, really powerful, really effective for companies that are selling a product or even for people that have a service and they want to offer a discount or a percentage off or something like that. It could be very, very useful. Always like to set up an ad schedule. Sometimes you don't want to have your ads running, 24/7. You just want to have your ads running during certain times of the day. And again, that also gives you the ability to bid up or bid down during certain times of the day based on the times that you see you're most likely to get the most conversions. So we always like that. And then finally, rotate indefinitely. We like to do rotate indefinitely. I know there are cases where AdWords or Google AdWords will say, okay, let's say if you just want to optimize or just have them optimize it for you. I personally and our team, we personally like to do it ourselves. We do have systems that may go in and double check and say, hey, this one won. Let's change out this creative. So we do have enough data that is statistically significant. We will also set up experiments within AdWords too from time to time. But usually, again, don't let robots do our jobs. That's what we're here for. And if we're able to work in tandem to ensure that we're building the right campaign, even just from the settings tab, and you're checking with your agency, or if whoever you're working with, even if you're doing it yourself, you're making certain that these are the baseline components of your campaign, then you're at the very least on your way to ensuring you're already getting the most out of your ad spend. And I wanted to give you a little bit of a bonus recommendation as well. You see here this view change history. If you want to see how proactive your agency really is, like what they are doing within your account on a regular basis, ask them to show you the view change history report. And that view change history report will share with you all of the stuff that your agency is doing. All the stuff they are doing, all the stuff that they have done, and what they're doing on a regular basis to ensure that your campaigns are being well optimized on your behalf. And so we use this on a regular basis because we believe in transparency. We believe in ensuring that our clients know that we're in there being proactive, making the proper changes and reporting back when need be on what's successful and what's not. So if you really want to see full transparency, ask your agencies or, get a sense of, how often people are actually going into your accounts and making the proper changes. And if you see there's big gaps like 1 week, 2 weeks, a month on end, that's a problem. And that needs to be checked. So not to get too wonky with you all, I figured this might be a nice lesson on how to start with the settings tab and start building a really solid campaign in AdWords. I really do hope this was useful. Again, this is Justin Croxton, one of the managing partners here at Propellant Media. Thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.